Hello knowledge seekers, this is Showman from Oil and Gas Field Quality Control. We are in a series of IOGP-GIP 33 Joint Industry Program standards. After the introduction, let us dive into the standard S705. This 705 is related to the welding, but we will basically highlight today for 705Q, which is quality requirements for welding of pressure containing equipment and piping. I told you these are guidelines. Actually, this is referring to the international standards or ISO. As I told you, even Saudi Aramco is using some references from these standards, so it is important. Let us start. To refresh, JIP 33. What is JIP? JIP is Joint Industry Program. These standards are basically prepared by all the pioneer members of this IOGP, International Association of Oil and Gas Producers. So they contributed, they are also taking feedback from the people and they are making their revisions based on the valuable feedback received from the experienced pipeliners or piping guys. So IOGP 705 is 4 parts. One is the basic supplementary specification, 2 API recommended practice 582 welding guidelines of chemical, oil and gas industries. 705D is data sheet, 705L are information requirement for welding, and 705Q are the quality requirements for welding. So now my highlight will be this IOGP S705Q. So what is the purpose of this 705 standard basically? The purpose of this specification is to define the minimum common set of requirements for welding and pressure containing equipment and piping in accordance with API recommended practice 582. 3rd edition, May 2016, for application in the petroleum and natural gas industries. This is available to download for anyone for free, and the link is here. You can even type IOGP in your Google and you can easily find it. What you can download? You can download the data sheet, download information requirements, download quality requirements, and download the supplementary specification with the errata. I will attach all these downloads in my video description so that you can download and you can get the reference also. Since it is very new, I thought of discussing this standard, what is inside. So you can see the index over here. First is scope. You know, the basic structure of a procedure or standard is as per ISO 9001. First is scope, then normative references, terms and definitions, symbols and abbreviations, quality requirements, and section 6 traceability, section 7 is control of non-conforming products and services, section 8 is evidence, and there is one annexer which is certification, traceability and requirement. So let us go little bit in deep. Introduction of this IOGP S705Q. The purpose of this quality requirement specification QRS. So remember this type of abbreviation which will be frequently using this standard, which QRS means quality requirement specification, is to define quality management requirements for the welding of pressure containing equipment and piping in accordance with IOGP S705 for application in the petroleum and natural gas industries. QRS includes definition of a conformity assessment system, which is CAS, which specifies standardized purchaser intervention against quality management activities at 4 different levels. The applicable CAS level is specified by the purchaser in the equipment data sheet or purchase order. The QRS shall be used in conjunction with supplementary requirements specification IOGP S705, the information requirement specification which is S705L, and the equipment data sheet S705D, which together comprises the full set of specification documents. The introduction section in the supplementary requirement specification provides further information on the purpose of each of these documents and the order of precedence for their use. You can see the triangle which is telling the JIP 33 specification of procurement documents, quality requirement specification. First, there are industrial and international standards. then the base forms by quality requirements, which is the input, information requirement input, and then supplementary technical specification, which is this one S705, and we have to add the data sheet. Then the complete requirement for a material or piping or pipeline can be fulfilled. Forward, the specification was prepared under Joint Industry Program 33, JIP 33, which is Standardization of Equipment Specification for Procurement, organized by International Oil and Gas Producing Association IOGP with the support from the World Economic Forum WEF. Companies from IOGP membership participated in developing this specification to leverage and improve industry-level standardization globally in the oil and gas sector. The work has developed a minimized set of supplementary requirements for procurement with life cycle cost in mind, resulting in a common and jointly agreed specification building on recognized industry and international standards. Section 1 is the scope of this 705Q to specify quality management requirement and the supply of welding and pressure containing equipment and piping to IOGP-S-705 to API recommended practice 582 for welding pressure containing equipment, including supplier quality management system requirement, purchaser conformity assessment, which is surveillance and inspection activities, traceability requirement, evidence for conformance, and finally the factory acceptance. Section 3 and 4 are the definitions and abbreviations. Here the terms are little bit different than the other international or national standard we are using. So remember basically these three things here which will be coming frequently to this standard, it will be repeated. CAS is the conformity assessment system, IRS is the information requirement specification, QRS is the quality requirement specification, which is this document. So 3.1 is conformity assessment, demonstration that requirements relating to a product, process, system, person or body are fulfilled, which is conformity assessment. Note 1 is conformity assessment includes but it is not limited to review, inspection, verification and validation activity. Assessment activity note 2 may be undertaken as a supplier or sub-supplier premises, virtually by video link, desktop sharing, etc., or by review of information formally submitted for acceptance or for information. Conformity Assessment System or CAS 3.2 systems providing different levels of assessment of the supplier's control activities by the purchaser, second party or independent body based on evaluation of the supplier's compatibility to conform to the product or service specification and obligatory requirements. Note, CAS or CAS Conformity Assessment System reflects a highest risk and associated extent of verification. Note, CAS-A reflects the highest risk associated extent of verification, whereas CAS-D is the lowest. So A, B, C, D, A is the highest risk are involved and D is the lowest risk as involved. We will see one annexer A at the end of this document where you will understand how it is being used. To continue with the definitions, conformity assessment, hold point, witness point, surveillance and review points are there. Conformity hold point is H. It is a point in the chain of activities beyond which an activity shall not proceed without the proper approval of the purchaser or purchaser's representative. Witness point is a point in the chain of activities that the supplier shall notify the purchaser or purchaser's representative before proceeding. The operation or process may proceed without the witness of the purchaser and does not attend after the agreed notice period. And conformity and assessment surveillance is an observation or monitoring or review by the purchaser or purchaser's representative of an activity, operation, process, product or associated information. And review is the final one, supplier's information to verify conformance to the requirement. So information review requirements are managed on a surveillance basis and as such do not impose schedule constraint unless specified as hold point in Annex A or as conditions specified in the associated IRS. Section 5 is quality requirements. Quality management system. The supplier shall demonstrate that the quality management arrangements established for the management of welding associated with the supply of pressure equipment and piping conform to ISO 9001 API specification Q1 or an equivalent quality management system standard and the welding management requirements of ISO 3834-2 or equivalent requirements in the applicable construction code. 5.2 is the conformance assessment. Quality plans and inspection and test plan developed as outputs to operational planning and controls shall define the specific welding management controls to be implemented by the supplier to ensure conformance with the specified requirements. 5.2.2 is the controls shall address welding undertaken internally and by providers or externally sourced processes, products and services. Quality plans and inspection and test plans shall include provision for the purchaser conformity assessment system CAS as specified in the data sheet. We need to refer Annex A. We will discuss. Supplier performance in meeting and requirements will be routinely assessed during execution of the scope and wherever appropriate corrective action requested and conformity assessment activities increased or decreased consistent with criticality and risk. Note 1. CAS level is required for industrial proven solution. CAS level D is specified unless risk assessment indicates that a more stringent. Note 2. Irrespective of conformity assessment requirements defined by the purchaser either by reference to standard or specification requirement in the scope, the supplier remains responsible for the operation planning and control and demonstration of the conformity of the product and services with the requirement of ISO 9001 8.1 and 8.2. Sections 6, 7 and 8 are the last three sections. 6 is traceability. Material certification and traceability records for the pressure equipment shall include welding certification and traceability records in accordance with Annexure B. And section 7 is control of non-conforming product and services. Non-conformance with specified requirements identified by or to the supplier shall be corrected such that the specified requirements are satisfied or the purchaser's acceptance or non-conformance agreed in accordance with the purchase order conditions. You can refer also ISO 9001, 8.2.3, 8.2.4, 8.5.6 and 8.7. Finally, the evidence and records is section 8, plans, procedure, methods and resulted records associated with the welding of pressure containing equipment and piping as defined in the IRS shall be incorporated into the information supplied for the equipment. I am putting a glance of Annexure A here. You can easily refer to the standard just to show you how a whole point, witness point. Here you can see the table representation, purchaser's conformity assessment requirement. So this is kind of ITP or inspection test plan which you need to discuss before you finalize with your vendor while you are giving them to execute a project or making an equipment or a pipe or components you are giving them to prepare. Purchaser agreement assessment activities are in the description. First of all, operation planning and control activity, I will read one for you. Weld quality requirement, ISO 3834 or equivalent, IOGP-S-705 4.6. Based on the severity, you can put whole point, witness point, review point. Whole point we cannot proceed without the purchaser or purchaser's representative. Similarly, in design and development activity, you can see a review of allocation of WPS out drawing. If it is more critical than H, if it is a little bit less critical, continuous activity or ongoing activity on subsequent activity, you can put witness or review. Review of pre-WPS, it is also they make a whole point. So this way you can read the Annexure A and it has to be modified for each of your activity based on the severity and criticality. This annex actually defined 4 conformity assessment systems CAS levels of purchaser assessment. Finally, there is Annexure B, which is the certification, traceability and requirement. Welding consumables, for example, in the annexure you can see electrode, rods and wear. The certificate type is 3.1 and traceability level 2. And the additional requirement, the minimum certification requirement of filler wear is as per ASME section 2C, and ISO, there are standard reference, you can read it. Then flux also level 2 and it has no additional requirement as per this Annexure B. Some notes for you: inspection certificate shall be provided in accordance with ISO 10474 or EN 10204. Traceability level 1, 2 and 3. What is this? Level 1 is full traceability. Material is uniquely identified and its history tracked from manufacturer through the stockist where applicable to the supplier, and the actual position on the equipment with specific location defined on a material placement record. The traceability to a specific location only applies to skid packaged equipment, not to bulks. Level 2, which is in our case in the annexure, is welding consumable. The supplier maintains a system to identify material throughout the manufacture with traceability to a material certificate. Level 3, the supplier maintains a system of traceability that enables a declaration of compliance to be issued by the supplier. That's it for IOGP-S-705Q. In my next video, it will be a little bit more elaborative. Maybe I will make 2 parts of it because total supplementary requirement IOGP-S-705. So I will highlight the basic things over there. Please be with me. For reference, I am putting all the standards in the link. Please do not forget to share and subscribe my channel. Hit the like button if you gain some knowledge from it. Signing off for today, Showman.